Lytudiep says hello to all my dear friends. Is everyone okay? And Jame, you are no longer everything to Diep. You have accepted to leave to go to your father's company. How long will you continue? And if you return, will Diep still accept and forgive you? If you were Diep, what would your decision be now? It was a cold winter morning. Mist drifted over the old tiled roofs, and the wind whispered through the cracks in the wooden door. In the small kitchen, Diep had just finished a simple breakfast when the woman of the house asked gently, "Do you eat meat?" Diep smiled softly. "No, I've eaten already." It was a simple exchange, but there was warmth in it, the quiet, human warmth between two people who had shared time and kindness. James arrived soon after, in his usual hurried yet gentle way. He said he was heading out to meet a client. Diep hesitated, then took a small bag from her side. Inside was a red coat. "I bought this for you," she said shyly. "Winter's coming. I didn't know what color you liked, so I just picked one. I hope you don't mind." The woman smiled, her eyes shining with simple joy. "I love it. I love red too." Diep smiled back, feeling a soft warmth in her chest, the joy of giving, even when she herself didn't have much. Life for Diep was simple but never easy. She sold ginger at the market, counted every little coin, and spent her days tending vegetables and chickens. Yet in her laughter, there was light, the kind of light that comes from quiet resilience. She had even found a new friend, a small dog she named Don. "Don," she said, bending down to pat its head. "From now on, you'll be my friend." Her laughter rang out in the open yard, where the sunlight fell gently through the trees, a moment of peace in a life full of effort. In the following days, James helped her fix the fence, hammer stakes, and water the vegetables. They worked side by side, talking softly, their voices mingling with the rustle of leaves and the hum of the late afternoon wind. There was something deep in that quiet companionship, a closeness built not by grand words but by shared days and shared struggles. Then, one golden afternoon, James paused. He looked at Diep, eyes heavy with unspoken worry. His voice was low, almost trembling. "There's something I had to tell you. The truth is, my father kicked me out of all the companies I used to manage. I'm no longer a director, no longer wealthy. I have no assets left, just a bit of money and some shaky investments. In short, I've lost everything. I've come back empty-handed." Diep froze. For a long while, she said nothing. The only sound was the wind brushing against the leaves outside. Then, she looked up, calm, steady, her voice soft but clear. "I already knew," she said. "I saw that you weren't working anymore, that you stopped going to the factory. But listen, whether you're rich or poor, successful or struggling, I'll still be by your side." James didn't speak. His eyes glistened. In that moment, he realized that what he feared most wasn't losing his wealth, it was losing her faith. Her love. But Diep, the same girl who once cried over small troubles, now stood there strong and unwavering, offering him comfort with the gentlest of words. "You know," she continued, "I used to be so fragile. The smallest problem could make me fall apart. But it was you. You were the one who gave me strength. Who taught me to stay positive. And now it's your turn. You have to be strong. Because we still have a long road ahead." James smiled faintly, his eyes softening in the dim light of the sunset. "I'm telling you all this," he said, "because I see you as my life partner. I don't want to hide anything from you anymore. We'll rebuild everything together, from nothing. A company, a home, a future." Diep reached out and took his hand, warm, firm, and full of quiet promise. "I'll be with you," she said, "no matter what happens." The sun was setting, its last rays glinting on Diep's hair, turning it into threads of gold. The world around them felt still, as if time itself paused to listen. When all the lights of wealth and success had gone out, when the business collapsed and James was left with nothing, Diep didn't walk away. She stayed, not out of pity, but out of love, a love that had never depended on money or status. She believed that a person could lose everything and still rebuild, as long as they held on to trust and genuine affection. Maybe that's what true love really is, not the promise of comfort, but the courage to stay when everything else falls apart. Because sometimes, when you have nothing left in your hands, that's when love finally shows its truest form, simple, pure, and unbreakable.